right, so let's start with the NFC East. We are going to get started with the Cowboys. Let's put the graphic up right now for you. And, I mean, what is your first reaction after looking at this?
Well, Jerry Jones didn't set his alarm clock and realize that free agency started. That's what I think happened. What do you think? I mean, it's minimal moves.
No, minimal moves, and it's smart. We've seen a handful of teams, especially, I think, in the NFC East. We're going to go through this pretty quick because it's just a couple teams that are waiting to see what happens and waiting to get those tier 2 of free agents. You got to remember, like, we're recording this a couple days after the start of free agency, and the craziness of free agency has not been what it normally is. I feel like as far as like
weird year.
Yeah, it just is because not every team has the amount of cap. There's been a lot of cuts and stuff, so there's a lot of guys still on the market, and we don't know what to expect. And like I said, like we're recording this, a little bit before obviously the video is going to come out, so maybe we'll add some names on here in post that aren't on here as we're talking about it. But right now, yeah, not a whole lot to say. They Andy Dalton, their backups moving on. Cam Irving, Awuzie, and Chris Worsley. Chris Worsley must be a backup. I don't know that name at all. Westry, thank you. And then Awuzie, he's a starter. So missing a cornerback and a left guard as far as like the starters that they're losing. Other than that, not a whole lot of losses here.
Yeah, the biggest thing that you had to look at from Dallas last year was just Dak and how to resolve that situation. It seems like they got it. They paid the man. They got him back in there, so we get to see Mike McCarthy, Dak, hopefully take this NFC least division and run forward with it. And maybe, it's up for grabs for sure. So the Cowboys always have that opportunity. I think they have the best roster out of these teams in this division. Theirs for the taking. It's also been theirs for the taking for many years now, though, and that's why we're here. Draft needs. Offensive line. I can't name an offensive line that has more turnover than the Dallas Cowboys recently. You look back 5 years ago, and they were just night in, night out the number one offensive line. You had, a young Zeke, not 5 years, but saying in the past few seasons, Zeke was able to really lead the league in rushing back-to-back seasons because of that line. You're able to protect your quarterback. And now it is so different. It is just a whole new world. That's where they're going to have to target early in the draft. I could see them going, it's either O-line or cornerback.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And then, we have safety in there as under draft needs, and that can be addressed later on. Again, you find starting safeties in the mid-rounds of the draft all the time, so I'm not really worried about that. You're absolutely right. O-line, cornerback, this team on paper should be good, and I do, look, you know this, and people that listen to the pod know this, but I blame McCarthy. I really do. I blame the scheme. I think it is what it is. We'll see. Hopefully Dak can come in and his health obviously would have won them a lot more games last year. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they underperformed regardless of who the quarterback was.
Of course they did. Yeah. I think we just have to take last year. Van Der Esch was hurt a lot too.
They had injuries everywhere. You're absolutely
right. Yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and consider that because I'm not a pro McCarthy guy, but I was a pro McCarthy in Dallas hire guy. So I want to see it work out in a way. It's weird saying that. I don't want to see Dallas Cowboys fans get hyped and go crazy because they'll come out.
Oh, yeah.
They'll come out. They're waiting.
I like Dallas Cowboys fans. I don't have a problem with that. All right, we will move on let's go to the Eagles next because it's crazy. We're going to go from first to worst in this division. That's not a huge gap, especially last year anyway. But we got the Eagles over here. Lost a lot of players. Obviously, Carson Wentz is the headliner. They ended up trading to the Colts. We knew about that. Got a couple safeties there that are gone. Obviously, a couple wide receivers. A D tackle took some hit as well. What do you think looking at this Eagles roster in general?
It's nothing really that changed right here. I mean, yes, you moved on from Carson Wentz. I am a Jalen Hurts fan. I think that the Eagles should dedicate this year because I see this as a win-win no matter what. Go out there, see what you have in Jalen Hurts. You invested a second-round pick into him, so clearly you value him to some extent. It kind of tapers off last year towards the end of that with Swat bringing the backup. It was just a different narrative.
Yeah, it was weird.
Different head coach though, so we'll see the way it goes. Win-win situation. Play Jalen, make it, see what it is. If it hits, good, you won. If it doesn't hit, good, you won because now you know what you can do going forward and what you don't have. On the defensive side of the ball, there are so many gaps with some aging veterans that you need to start replacing.
That they're paying way too much.
They really are. It's kind of ugly. Offensive line, I actually really like this unit if they are able to stay healthy.
Yeah.
We saw them lose Brandon Brooks. We saw them have to kick over a Jason Peters into another spot. Andre Dillard got hurt for the whole year, and you still have to address that wide receiver position.
It's
probably one of the worst.
They do need a right tackle, but I mean, other than that, I absolutely agree. I almost put dealer's choice under here in their draft needs as far as because I do think you could say a lot of things. I threw quarterback in there because I know you're a believer of Jalen Hurts. I'm not as much, but I definitely have hope for him. Like I'm rooting for the guy.
Where do the Eagles pick?
I believe they're seventh or eighth. No, they're not eighth. They're seventh. Yeah. Pretty sure.
That's
it might be sixth.
Yeah. I think it's sixth.
It might be sixth. You're right.
So
you're right.
Being in that spot though, that's quarterback ground. I mean,
yeah. If they wanted to go that route, I don't expect them to. I think this is. I mean, we mentioned it. I think this is tear down and build back up next year. That's kind of the way I look at these Eagles. They don't have really any cap room to work with, so I don't know. There's definitely going to be some smaller moves on the horizon, but overall, it feels like this is a down year, and I don't know how this
the dead money
turn
Carson
around.
Wentz year. Yeah,
exactly.
Eat that.
Yeah, they're gonna have to eat a big chunk of that. All right, we'll move on. Not a whole lot to say there. And like you said, I'll finish with this. I agree. Other than Malik Jackson, I don't think there's anybody that they're losing that other than Carson Wentz that didn't deserve to be gone. You know what I mean? So I think that's totally fair. Let's move on to the Giants. An up and comer teamer for you. Let's put up the graphic. I want you to headline this Giants talk because I know how high you are on them this year.
Yeah, I like the Giants just because of the way that the coach Joe Judge was able to step in and really get them to rally around this underperforming on paper roster. I mean, he had a lot of nobody names show up and really rally together. They had a lot of good plug and play starters on the defensive side of the ball. They made a deal with Leonard Williams, so they were able to bring him back, lock him down. The addition of John Ross at wide receiver. Yes, I know John Ross has been an overall bust, getting taken whenever, I think it was 11th overall because he broke the 40 record. I get that. There's a chance for a second wind. There is room in that wide receiver core to grow because they cut Golden Tate, which we called, by the way, because of a cap casualty.
Yeah.
Mike Glennon does nothing for me adding him at quarterback. That's just behind Daniel Jones. Kyle Rudolph at tight end. Kyle Rudolph is a very, very good gap off of the tackle tight end whenever he can help out in the pass blocking. He's a very good run blocker. Saquon coming back healthy. Daniel Jones, I like Daniel Jones. I don't think Daniel Jones could be... I'm not saying that he is the guy. I'm just saying he is a starting quarterback in the National Football League. Going forward, he can lead your team.
Yeah.
And when I think of an Eli Manning, it's not that far apart from me in a Daniel Jones way. I know Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer and a Super Bowl winning quarterback and all that good stuff. I'm not saying that he is that.
You're wrong for saying that.
It's a good quarterback.
If Daniel Jones can get to the level of poise
he can be that. Yes.
Yeah, he definitely can be an Eli Manning. So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. When you look at needs, you got where would you go in the first round?
It's so tough. I would take best available player.
Best available, because there's a lot of needs there. O-line, D-line,
the
wide
obvious
receiver.
wide receiver gap, but I am a fan of Darius Slayton, and I think if you're able to use a John Ross at the number 2 and then have Sterling Shepard, I don't think that is just absolutely devoid like I consider Philadelphia's wide receiver.
Yeah.
Philadelphia has to get one soon. The Giants can afford to get one in the second or third. I think first round overall pick, maybe take the guy that falls down to you that wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. There's a chance that they could take a defensive lineman like a Kwity Paye because they lost Dalvin Tomlinson early. So he's a member of the Vikings now, so we'll have to see what they do with that.
Yeah, Rashawn Slater would be another one at 10, or 11, excuse me. So yeah, I absolutely agree. There's some movement, there's some options, and somebody's going to fall. I guarantee you, guys are going to trade up from behind the Giants at 11 to go grab a quarterback. I would be surprised if it doesn't happen with at least one of those teams that doesn't trade up into the top 10. So somebody is going to fall that probably shouldn't fall outside of the top 10, right? So take best available. I think no matter what, you're going to hit some kind of need on your roster. I mean,
of course.
And like you said, I think this is.
We didn't even name cornerback.
No, corner. Yeah, I mean, and there's certainly some names there that they could go at 11 as well. I'll finish it off with the Giants and just say they remind me of what the 2019 Dolphins were, and meaning like I would expect them to come into this year having the type of season that the 2020 Dolphins had, right? So a very surprising year for everybody. I'm not saying they're going to come out and win 10 games, but I think they're going to surprise some people and be a lot better than people are maybe expecting. I'm
right there with. Yeah. I'm really high on them.
Yeah, so I think that's a good way to say it. Anything else you want to go with the Giants there?
No. Wrap up the NFC East with a team that I know you said has absolutely dominated free agency.
Yeah, this was the best free agent team. Like this team crushed it. I mean, we're going to throw it up. We got William Jackson and Curtis Samuel that headline this free agency pool, and that's enough. you got William Jackson, who should have been the highest paid corner, and he wasn't. The Jags paid Griffin more than Washington's going to play William Jackson. That's ridiculous. William Jackson is a shutdown corner in this league. Maybe people are lower on him than me, but in my opinion, that is what he can be, and that's what he is right now. Curtis Samuel is going to be an awesome number 2 to pair alongside of Terry McLaurin, and I know Curtis Samuel had people. Some people are down on Curtis Samuel. I get it. I mean, I just believe in him. I do. I believe in the talent. You got a couple of Ohio State boys there in Washington now, and Curtis Samuel came on big time at the end of the year last year and kind of showed that he certainly has the talent, even though maybe the stats didn't rack up. You grab my guy Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I put for Ryan Fitzmagic. The only guy I put their nickname on there just because he's magic, man. I love him, and I don't know if he'll be the starter. I can't imagine they're planning on going into the season with him as a starter, but whoever you get, and then they're probably going to have to go quarterback in the first round, right? Realistically, that's probably the move. Whoever it is, you have one of the best mentors to be alongside. You're paying him $10 million. I mean, he deserves more. I mean, yes, and I think that's a great deal for them to get him for $10 million this year. He can come in and start and win you games. He'll lose you some too. I mean, we know what he is, but he's going to be the best mentor you could ask for whoever you get. He's going to get the most out of whoever comes in to be that rookie quarterback to take over the future. I love it, and I don't feel like they lost a lot. Ronald Darby's become kind of a journeyman at the tail end of his career.
Guys, yeah.
You know, a couple of linebackers there that definitely are going to hurt. But other than that, like I think this team got a whole lot better over the past couple of days.
They did. You don't think Taylor Heineke's the guy at all?
Yeah, no.
Man,
some people do, and that's fine. I mean, maybe he is.
I do. I do. I'm not saying that he is going to be the guy that turns the Washington football team around. Of course, they have quarterback needs that need to be addressed, and that's fine. Wouldn't surprise me one bit if they end up taking a Justin Fields, if they take the Trey Lance, if they take anyone like that. There is a chance they could do that for sure.
It's just the problem is they're in the 20s, so they would have to make a move.
That's what exactly. Yeah. Mac Jones, anything. That's why I think that they could run this year with Taylor Heineke. Listen, Scary Terry went on Twitter after that playoff game and said, "I'll go to battle with number 4 all day, Taylor Heineke," and saying he showed heart, he showed grit. That playoff game was incredible.
Yeah,
if he's able to bring that into next year's season, listen, that's a team that shows up that you do not want to play, because offensively, yes, that's where they're going to go in the first round. That's where they should go in the second round and probably third round. I think they have a top 5 defensive line. They have an okay linebacker core. Adding William Jackson at your number 1 is a great move for free agency. I think that was the home run signing that they were able to land.
I agree.
Got to get some offensive talent in there, though. But yes, Heineke has some grit. He showed it. They have some good wide receiver weapons. I really like how Antonio Gibson came on strong towards the end last year. It was unfortunate to see him get hurt, but, full head of steam going forward, downhill runner. Ron Rivera, I love the way that he has this team all together. They rallied. So it's going to be a really interesting way to see how this division shapes up.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I'm excited to see Washington. It wouldn't surprise me a bit if they won their division next year again.
Same for the Giants, and then the Cow. I think the only team that doesn't have a chance, I'm sorry, Philadelphia fans. I'm sorry. I think it's y'all.
Yeah, and I think they know that. I mean, let's be realistic there. We'll see what happens. That's going to be – it wouldn't surprise me a bit if this division gets scary good next year after having a really down year.